The Mavericks call checkmate in Sacramento as they get it done on the road to set up a date with Memphis on Friday. We'll break it down coming up next on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. Hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs Nation? Welcome to the DLLS Mavs postseason presented by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. It is our post-game show as the Dallas Mavericks get it done on the road over the Sacramento Kings, 120-106 as they eliminate the Kings in the play-in tournament. They set up a date with the Memphis Grizzlies on Friday. The winner of that game will be the 8th seed in the Western Conference. We will break it down all for you over the course of the next hour. I'm your host, Kevin Gray. That is our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato. That is our Mavericks analyst, Bobby Krella, and the clairvoyant NBA insider, Mark Stein. You can always dial up the Stein line at the Stein line, who guaranteed that the Dallas Mavericks would get it done. And in fact, they made Mark Stein look like a genius tonight, because Klay Thompson, 16 points in the second quarter. The Mavericks outscoring the Kings 44-19 in that decisive second quarter, blew the game open, and they are the ones headed to Memphis, gentlemen, in what was a dominant effort in that second period. A lot of contributions from a lot of guys. Anthony Davis with 27 points, 9 rebounds to lead the way for the Mavericks, Tim Cato, as the Mavericks are the victorious ones tonight.
Dallas closed the season winning 6 of 12 games, which isn't amazing, but they kept getting healthier the entire way. This is the healthiest this roster has been. I thought this looked like a very competent team like we saw towards the end of the regular season against worse opponents. Sacramento was not good. Sacramento was at times embarrassing. Dallas had some effect on that. Dallas absolutely caused them to look bad at times. There's other times where Sacramento just short-circuited. They were down Malik Monk. Overall, good game. And I think what speaks most is the same thing we've been saying about this team all season, that the players in the locker room are resilient, that they have stuck at this the entire time. That is impressive. And yeah, this is a very solid team. Now, solid doesn't win you playoff games, but this is just the play-in tournament. And I do think Dallas has a chance against Memphis. Obviously, there's not much chance of going any further than that. Now, with Oklahoma City coming up as a reward, you make it past Memphis. But this was a performance that I think is in line with what we thought the Dallas Mavericks have been, will be.
This game, gentlemen, was... If
Oh,
excuse
wow.
me,
What? Oh, wow.
I was
Belt to
really
ass.
scared.
Yeah, I was really worried about what was about to
Really
happen.
scared
Like,
there
what
for
is
a
going on
second.
over here?
it was belt to
I
ass.
was like,
Can we get a sound effect? I need, like,
There was a,
oh my
there was a-
goodness.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, I liked.
There was
Everything that
a
led up to that I did not like.
there was a Mavs reporter on the scene. I think it was Mike Curtis. I'm not too sure though. I'm sorry. That said that after making one shot, PJ turned to the crowd and made a belt to ass motion. That's what that game was. The Mavs went in there and they were bullies. They took the Kings' lunch money. They ate their food right in front of them and their entire family, and then they let them know how good it tasted. That was a domination, complete and utter domination, inside, outside, defense, transition, every aspect of the game, especially in the first half. The Mavs dominated. The Kings showed a little resolve in the third quarter, but that looked like a team that was ready to fold. And, you know, if you were watching the pregame and the watch along with us, we talked about how the Mavs have been very good in closeout games and not so good in game ones. We're like, okay, well, is this more of a game 7 or a game 1? Because the Mavs can't win a game 1. They can't lose a game 6 or 7. Tonight was later in the series. The Mavs had the psychological will and fortitude. The Kings didn't. and the Mavs absolutely crushed them. They crushed them.
Mark Stein, this is your time to cook, because you said yesterday, guaranteed that the Mavericks would win. Klay Thompson will get out here and cook from the three-point line. And, sir, all of those things came to fruition in a big way tonight.
Well, the gloating definitely would have been on a higher volume. I'd set the over-under for Klay's threes at 5, and I guaranteed he would make 6. He made 5. So had he made 6, yes, I would have been loudly gloating. But it was, I mean, look, you could see, I think some people have already seen the interview he gave with Scott Van Pelt on ESPN after the game. And Klay Thompson has not forgotten how his last game as a Warrior went in this same building. So to have a 16-point second quarter, drain the 5 threes, I had a feeling he was going to light it up like this. And during the day, when I checked with a few people in the Mavs traveling party in Sacramento, everybody I talked to said it. They're like, "We're winning tonight." Like there was a great deal of confidence within the group, and I thought going in that Sacramento is a small team. They don't do great with size. And, they do have Valanciunas now, who they got at the trade deadline from Washington, and throw him in. And, Valanciunas has been in the play-in tournament every year of his career, which is every year that the play-in tournament has existed.
Wow.
This is literally his 6th trip to the play-in tournament.
He is now the play-in tournament all-time leading scorer.
Let's go.
DeMar DeRozan is.
The play-in DeRozan. Yeah, but I'm talking about Valanciunas.
Oh, my bad.
But yes, no.
I got really excited.
Your point about DeRozan is that
I am
Chicago. Anyone who plays for the Bulls or is tangentially connected to the Bulls, meets with play. I mean, the Bulls, who finished the season so strongly, they get housed at home by a Miami team that can't score, and the Heat just ran them out of the building. And then Levine and DeRozan, the Bulls alumni, are on Sacramento, and they go out tonight. I mean, before tonight, the number 10 seed was 2-6 all time in the play-in tournament. The Heat and the Mavs just doubled that win total to 4-6. A number 10 team has never won the second game to actually go to the playoffs. So we'll see, can Miami win in Atlanta, and or can the Mavericks of Dallas win in Memphis?
This makes, honestly, we've had 4 play-in games so far. 3 out of the first 4 games have been complete blowouts. I mean, Orlando destroyed Atlanta. Obviously, we saw what Miami did to Chicago tonight, and then the Dallas Mavericks followed it up and just smoked the Sacramento Kings. The only good game we've had so far was between the Grizzlies and the Warriors last night. So give credit to the Dallas Mavericks. We'll break it down throughout the course of the show. But Mark mentioned it. I mean, Klay Thompson going 5 of 7 from downtown. I mentioned it during the pregame show. The Sacramento Kings are 3rd worst in the NBA, giving up or allowing teams to make 14.5 3-pointers per game. Dallas went 14 of 28 tonight through the 3-point line, going 50% from downtown. In fact, they shot 41 of 83, going 49% from the field. My favorite number on the night, 29. The Mavericks had 29 assists on the 41 made field goals that they had. They were sharing the basketball while the Sacramento Kings were turning the ball over like crazy.
Ball was moving nice tonight. Ball was moving.
Can I say something about the threes, though?
Mm-hmm.
They had 20 in the first half. They only shot 8 in the second half. This is not a team that gets up a lot of threes. The first half was unusual because they did get up a lot of threes. They found Klay Thompson. Sacramento's defense was just so poor sometimes.
Very bad.
It literally took one screen to pop Klay Thompson, especially as he was heating up. He was taking, slightly more contested shots, but
that first Klay 3 was less than swishy. But once that thing bounced up and bounced in, like that just broke the seal.
There's another moment they let him go coast to coast for a layup, but those threes were way too easy to get from Klay Thompson. Brandon Williams hit 3. All in like 40. Well, it wasn't 40 seconds. It was all in like 2 minutes, though. That was extremely important. And yeah, like you look up and down the roster, and Dallas really reverted. You can say they reverted in the second half. What I would say is that in the second quarter, they became an offense that is unusual to what the Dallas Mavericks have been. But that was the quarter that won them the game. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm doing the turning point now.
You're good.
But that's the quarter that won them the game because for a good little bit there, that offense all of a sudden was humming and it was moving. And absolutely give credit to the Mavericks. Absolutely acknowledge that the Sacramento Kings, just embarrassing effort throughout that entire quarter to allow that. But I thought the offense looked really good. Do you think Memphis is going to be a much tougher test?
With that being said, the Mavericks outscored the Kings in that second quarter 44-19, really putting the game away there. I mean, the Kings actually had a lead at the end of one, 29-27. But as we will go through the rest of the show, the contributions not only from Klay Thompson, big shout out to Brandon Williams, who came into this game questionable with the left oblique injury that he suffered in the first half against Memphis, did not play in the second half. He was sensational tonight for the Dallas Mavericks. He wound up finishing the game with what was 17 points. My man was a plus 24 in his 17 minutes of play tonight.
Those back-to-back threes he hit early were huge because the offense was not yet rolling when that happened.
And his offense was spectacular for them. He goes 5 of 8 from the field, 3 of 4 from downtown. Just gives you an idea. The Mavericks had what was 5 guys in double figures tonight. PJ Washington chipped in. He had 17 points. He was a plus 28 despite going 5 of 15 from the field. We mentioned Anthony Davis, who went just 9 of 23, but had the 27 points and the 9 rebounds in this game. Klay Thompson with his 23 and the other player in double figures. How about Dante Exum going a perfect 4 for 4 from the field? He had 11 points and 6 assists, sneaky 6 assists tonight for Dante Exum, who was really good in this game. So, Bobby, a lot of contributions from a lot of guys who picked themselves up after what was a distraction-filled day yesterday, put that behind them, and went out and handled business the way that they were capable of to set themselves up for a date with Memphis on Friday.
Yeah, they all brought the belts, man. You see a couple go in, and then it becomes contagious. And this is a team that has shot the ball extremely poorly for the better part of a month and a half now, basically ever since Kyrie went down. All of a sudden, not only is Kyrie a terrific three-point shooter in his own right, but also he's breaking the defense down, getting in the lane, finding shooters, that's getting Klay open looks, etc. This is a team that's making like sometimes 5 or 6 or 8 threes in a game, and they were making that in one quarter tonight against a team that could not knock down many shots, couldn't get anything going around the rim, kept coughing it up, turning the ball over. Mavs were taking it down, boom, score. It becomes an avalanche, and Mavs fans over the last few years have seen a team that takes a lot of threes and makes a lot of threes, shoots a pretty high percentage. It can feel like this insurmountable thing, right? You make 4 or 5 threes in a row, you go from up 2 to like up 15 in like a minute and a half. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But it's not Luka and Kyrie and Klay making them. Now it's like Klay and Brandon Williams making them. And AD made a few in a row at one point. Shot making can be contagious. They don't have as many guys that can make those shots, but when those guys get confident, when they get a rhythm, then this team can still score points in bunches.
And it was fun to watch, especially in that second quarter with shots raining down from the three-point line. Anthony Davis getting into the act from the three-point line.
Letting them know about it, too.
Yeah, letting them know about it. He was
telling them to get the hell out of here in the second quarter. Dude.
He was like, y'all can go ahead and go. Don't even worry about it. I'm here, and y'all can go ahead and go home.
Yeah, but they really could have.
No, really, they
could have beat the traffic, saved some time.
Yeah, it was over after the second quarter. I mean, Sacramento tried to clean it up a little bit in the third quarter, but it was way too little, way too late by that point, and the teams were just trading buckets in that third quarter. The Mavs were able to maintain what was a double-digit lead throughout the entirety of the second half. So a big win.
It was never in doubt.
No, after. That's right. Never a doubt, Mark Stein. Never a doubt. Let's take our first break here on the DLLS Mavs post-game show. When we come back, the turning point in this game for the Dallas Mavericks, led by a man who sought redemption in a building where he went over a year ago. We'll talk about that and more next on the DLLS Mavs post-game show.
But first, with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA playoff tickets. It's very tough to get in the building for playoff games, but my God, is it fun. And it's going to be even tougher to get tickets on such a short turnaround like the Mavs are facing right now. They got a game in Memphis 2 days from now. If you're lucky enough to be able to go, or maybe you live in Tennessee, you want to make the drive out to the arena, use Game Time. Or maybe you're in from out of town, you're going to fly to Memphis for the game. You have no idea what the views are like in that arena. Well, Game Time has 360-degree panoramic views from your seats, or you can just trust the app with their zone deals. Say, hey, I want to sit in this area-ish. Game Time, you do the rest of the work for me. They also have all-in pricing, so you know exactly what you're going to pay. There's no surprise fees right at the checkout screen. That's going to ruin your time. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code DLLS for $20 off. Download Game Time today.
Owning property can be hard, but Ownwell wants to make it easy for you, especially when it comes to paying property tax. It's that time of the year when you get that dreaded property tax letter in the mail letting you know what you got to pay for the past year. Ownwell can take care of that because they believe when it comes to paying property tax, you should only pay what's fair. Ownwell handles everything from start to finish and delivers top results. Not only do they handle the upfront costs as well, but they only pay if you save. 86% of Ownwell's customers receive a reduction with an average customer savings of over $1,100. That's some serious money, especially around this time of the year because it's tax time as well. The deadline to protest is May 15th for most counties. Save money on your property taxes with Ownwell. Sign up in less than 3 minutes and start your protest today at ownwell.com/DLLS. That's OWNWELL.com/DLLS today. Mavericks clobber the Sacramento Kings tonight, 120-106, as they get it done to advance to Friday's game with the Memphis Grizzlies, where the winner will go on to Oklahoma City on Sunday for a date with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the number one team in the NBA in the Oklahoma City Thunder. Let's get to our turning point of tonight's game here in just a moment. But before we do, let's get to our super chat. Shout out to GM Ben. I would let Stein read it, but this was directed toward Bobby. So, Bobby, you can take the $1.99.
Don't stand up quick. This is a PG show. I reapplied the belt as soon as Tanner cut away. All right. My pants are safely and securely right around my hips.
Before we go to turning point, I gotta share a couple of things with you guys real quick. This season has been remarkable in terms of just how many teams are going through it. Again, I don't want to make comparisons. I think we know locally that everyone is very drained and exhausted, to say the least, by what's happened the last 2 months. But Sacramento losing this game tonight, just to give you a glimpse of what's going on in the 916 right now. Doug Christie told the media after this game he's never seen anything like this Sacramento season. And DeMar DeRozan said, quote, "This is probably the most I've been through in my 16-year career."
Jeez.
So it's just again,
oh my God.
Just the illustration of like Philly. They think it's the worst, most heinous season ever. Our friends in Phoenix, they think it is. Dang it.
Mark Stein.
They think it's the worst season for all time. Dallas, obviously, I think we know how everybody feels. It's just like the teams that are going through it right now are just in agony. Agony. I mean, and, you know, the Mavs are the team that traded Luka Doncic, obviously. But the Kings are the team that didn't draft Luka Doncic, in large part because they had De'Aaron Fox. They trade Tyrese Halliburton to put a big man next to De'Aaron Fox.
Oh, my God.
De'Aaron Fox forces a trade to San Antonio this season, and now where are the Kings? Like I said, this is just purely an informational an informational sidebar. Back to the main event, Kevin Gray. Sorry about that.
I mean, but you're right. I mean, the race to season from hell has, you know, some terrific candidates.
It's a race.
This year.
It's a race. It's a race.
Philly, Phoenix, Dallas, Sacramento.
Miami was in hell until tonight.
You could throw the Pelicans in there, like
you certainly like if Miami doesn't win this game, if Miami doesn't make the playoffs, they would have had to give an unprotected pick to OKC in 26 and Charlotte in 28. So their win tonight in Chicago was monstrous because they're now not going to have a pick in the Cooper Flag draft. But the Heat are not now giving unprotected firsts in 2 of the ensuing 3 drafts. Like, yeah, there are. You said it, Pelicans, which we haven't even talked about. Like, man, this has been a season like.
And I think that's the takeaway That's the biggest, the most overwhelming takeaway from the Mavericks perspective for this game. A lot of those players got to be happy. Like, sorry if, we're not going to be the most effusive of praise about the basketball on the court, just given the opponent. Sacramento was the 9th seed, and they were worse than that because Malik Monk wasn't on the court, and they were worse than that because we just watched them. Yes. We just watched the team
they
that
played
the
like
Dallas
a 19 seed tonight.
Yes, that's generous. They played worse than that for long stretches of that game. That was not now. There are things to praise about what Dallas did. There are things to praise about what this team is able to be, but that was not the toughest competition. However, after the most trying 3 months, one of the most trying 3-month periods that a professional sports team has gone through,
and a pretty brutal 24 hours.
Yeah.
They got to go out there and put belt to ass, and they got to have fun, and they got to enjoy it.
Did you guys listen to the Pat Bev podcast before this show or what?
There was people.
I try not to do that.
There were multiple players celebrating, dunking on the Sacramento Kings fans and the entire arena in the second quarter, and there is nobody, to bring it all the way back to you, Kevin, there is nobody who is, I think we should be happier for
sure,
and who was happier about this win
than
Nico, Klay Thompson.
Oh, Nico Herson.
Oh.
By the way, shout out to
Klay
ESPN
Thompson.
Because every time Anthony Davis did something positive on the floor, the camera just panned to Nico Harrison in his seat as he was traveling with the team.
Can I dole out a little copium?
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
So, the whole thing that's been going on, and we've chronicled it all here.
Yeah.
All of these other teams experiencing their own seasons from hell, and there are a lot of them. They all kind of just tucked their tail between their legs and just gave up.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Mavs, for as depleted and, I mean, not in like a insulting way, but like unskilled. Like all of their skill players were out. All of their most talented players. All of their guys that could dribble. They started Najee at point guard tonight, for God's sake. All of those guys have been hurt or bad. For as unskilled and unhealthy and unstable and unnormal and unloved and uncelebrated as they are, they still fight hard every night, which is like, that's again what's such a heartbreaking thing about this season is that like these guys are busting their ass in a way that a fan base wants to get behind.
Agreed.
Like it is so easy to root for guys that play the way that Najee does, that PJ does, that AD does whenever he's healthy and feeling good, and same with Lively and Gafford, and dunks are cool and size is fun and they talk trash even without Luka. Like these guys,
Dante Exum fighting back from a broken hand just to get back.
Brandon Williams saving his career. Like this is awesome. And all these other teams like Phoenix quit, dude. Like that's an embarrassing team. That is an embarrassing team. The Kings, embarrassing team. The Mavs, embarrassing front office. But the players are rad. They are rad, and congratulations to them.
Yeah, and no player personified that more tonight than Klay Thompson. 16 massive points in that second quarter helped blow open the game for the Mavericks in a game where they led by as many as 26. It's well chronicled. Klay Thompson, the last time he set foot in Golden One Center, my man didn't make a single bucket in his final game as a member of the Golden State Warriors.
Yikes.
And didn't make his first couple shots tonight either. And I jokingly asked during the watch along, is Klay Thompson ever going to make a bucket in Golden One Center during a playing game? He said, Kevin.
Guarantee.
That's right. He said, I got Mark Stein's guarantee, and I'm going to show you right now. And he did in that second quarter. Brandon Williams had, a couple big threes in that quarter, but once Klay's three started going in, you just felt the shift, not just necessarily momentum, but his confidence went up and got hot quick for him, and the team really fed off of him, and he was the one that was a driving force offensively. So you give him a lot of credit for a season that completely unexpected for him. I mean, he graded his season the other day, giving himself a B, obviously in the midst of what has been happening for the team as a whole. But to come out with this performance tonight, big time from Klay Thompson, and shout out to him for the way that he played, because he was sensational tonight.
And that's the thing. Like on this show, we do our best to represent the voice of the fan, the many, many voices of the fans, which, way too varied. Everybody has their own unique relationship. I can't think of anybody that, there have been people who have completely gone away from their Mavericks fandom. There are people who still consider themselves Mavs fans, but can't even watch games or choose not to watch games. There are people who watch without a lot of emotions attached to it. But every single grouping of people, including people who are just still Mavs fans, and every grouping has their own relationship to fandom. Every single grouping of them were fans when the year started, still love so many of these players. Like, I don't think anybody, whether you don't even have to watch the game. I am sure there are people who are appreciative that the players got to experience this, that they were able to have a bright moment. Again, in terms of on-court basketball stuff, to the extent we can learn anything, we've got a lot more eyes focused on Friday now. But it was very cool, and Klay having all the baggage of the last play-in game to be able to get that off, I just thought that was a cool win, a cool moment, a cool game, and on to Memphis we go.
Yeah, and a couple other numbers from that second quarter that really kind of define how that quarter went. I mean, the Mavericks forced 10 turnovers for Sacramento. They had 12 turnovers in the first half, 10 of them coming in the second quarter. The Mavericks scored 12 points off those 10 turnovers. They outscored the Sacramento bench 12-0 in that period. They led by as many as 23 in that period. As we mentioned, Klay Thompson with the 16 points that he had. Sacramento scored 19 total in the period in that second quarter. Anthony Davis had a couple threes as well, going 2 of 2 from downtown. Brandon Williams went 2 of 3 from downtown. The Mavericks as a team went 8 of 11 from deep in that second period alone and really turned the tide with their hot shooting from the three-point line. In fact, they shot 68% from the field in that second period. What was so close?
They were so close.
What?
68%?
Oh, I see what you did.
What's
there.
68?
I see what you did there.
If you guys have to say it all out loud, the effect has been lost.
Well, he threw
I
me
know.
off.
That's why I figured everyone would get the so close thing. I figured everyone. That's low hanging fruit.
It's fine. It's fine. You threw me off when you said, I was like, wait, what? And then I got you now.
This is the best 25 seconds of our podcast history. Just incredible, riveting content.
I'm going to explain my next joke to you next.
No, don't do that. You don't have to do that. Just make the joke and we'll get it. I promise you we'll get it next time. So just a big second quarter, and that's what put the game away. The Kings did not recover from there, and they found themselves on the business end of an ass whooping tonight and put their season out of misery. Bobby Marks' end of season article, Sacramento, you're up next because it's time for you to head on home.
And Playmaker makes a good point. I mean, we were all pretty spooked about this game.
For sure.
And KG, you were worried about DeRozan. DeRozan had a great game.
He did.
He didn't even turn it over that much, but I was worried about Levine. Levine had 20.
You guys want a quick bulletin before we go to break?
What's up?
Sacramento-based Sam Amick just tweeted, the Kings and GM Monty McNair have mutually agreed to part ways.
Oh, wow.
Tell the
Not
Athletic.
they're both walking off the court. They're like, you good? Yeah, no, I'm fine. Get me out of here.
Yeah.
So Monty McNair is out as GM.
Monty McNair is out as GM before we get off the air.
Wow.
So
Golly, bro.
don't forget that Doug Christie is the interim coach there. So this could be another look. This could be another scenario where we're looking at a GM and coach change as we saw in Denver.
Monty's been out for weeks. Would not surprise me at all if he ends up back in Houston.
What is with this franchise and ending other franchises? Like the Mavericks have sent in parts the Clippers to the Shadow Realm. They sent the Phoenix Suns to the Shadow Realm. They just now have clearly
a little different.
I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just. You know.
I hear you. I hear you. Just
you know.
I do want to. The Suns one was so spectacular that we can't compare this, which was a season that was just going.
Agreed.
That this was just the plane failed 30,000 feet in the air.
Right.
This game just happened to be where it crashed. Game 7 against the Suns was like I don't know. I don't want to continue this analogy.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's just kind of ironic
Cruise missile.
that the Mavericks continue to be on the ones that Utah. You can throw Utah in there because they sent them to the Shadow Realm too. So Monty McNair, that's the breaking news according to Sam Amick of The Athletic, that Monty McNair, the GM, is out in Sacramento. My man couldn't even get on the tarmac before he got fired. Good gracious. Let's take our next break here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. When we come back, we hop into Cato's corner. The rotations and Anthony Davis on the mind of Tim Cato as we break down how the Mavs were able to get it done against the Kings tonight as they are headed to Memphis for a date with John Morant and the Grizzlies on Friday. All that and more coming up next year on the DLLS Mavs postgame show.
Just like your favorite team needs a home court advantage, unless you're playing a playing game against the Sacramento Kings, your home needs a home floor advantage, and Empire Today can help you get it. Empire Today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. We've all been to the big box stores. You wander endless aisles. You double back 3 times. You get a little lost. You wish it was an IKEA so you could buy a hot dog in the middle, and it's not. And then somehow at the end of all that, you're stuck with your flooring material, trying to get it home, trying to get it installed. Empire Today is not like that. They're dedicated flooring professionals. That's all they do 24/7, and they can help you get your new floor. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. DLLS listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code DLLS. Yes, you heard that right. A $350 discount with code DLLS. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday/DLLS for full details.
Well, it's the last time in my life I trust Domantas Sabonis. Frankly, Daniel Gafford let me down a little bit too. DeMar DeRozan, hats off to you, buddy. You lived up to your sleeper expectations. But the other two, y'all are on my list. My naughty list. On Sleeper, you can pick whether your favorite or least favorite players will get more or less than their projected stats each and every game. Tonight, I was not so lucky with Domantas Sabonis or Daniel Gafford, but no matter. Next game, I will be right back here. On Sleeper, you get alerts whenever you guys are out. You get alerts for any sort of breaking news and analysis, which will always keep you one step ahead of the game. If you think you know ball, download Sleeper today. Use promo code DLLS Mavs. Play $5 to get $55 in free plays. Doesn't have to be your first plays. You can use that anytime. That is a whole lot of fun to have on Sleeper. So check out the terms and conditions and download Sleeper today.
Quotes. Y'all might want to beat that traffic, though, in quotes. That is when Anthony Davis was screaming to Sacramento Kings fans in the fourth quarter as the Mavericks are putting the finishing touches on their blowout victory 120-106 over Sacktown as Dallas is headed to Memphis on Friday for a game with John Morant and the Grizzlies. Tip-off for that game will be at 8:30 p.m., Bobby Carella, on Friday evening when the Mavericks visit the Memphis Grizzlies. Let's hop into Cato's Corner right now on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. We're joined in studio by our national NBA insider, Mark Stein, as well as Tim. This team in Dallas found a way to get it done and did so in resounding fashion. The big man in the middle had to be a star tonight. He was in a lot of ways. In some other ways, could be even that much better going into the game.
Well, I want to start with the rotations.
Yeah.
And I just want to open it to the panel. Spencer Dinwiddie was not in the rotation. Initial impressions from y'all?
Correct choice.
2 words. Brandon Williams.
I think that's a big reason. That's a big factor.
But it's still stunning. As we've talked about, Spencer Dinwiddie
He's their leading minutes getter.
led this team in minutes, and didn't Bobby? You read that whole slew of things he led the team in assists and what they were like,
minutes, assists, and free throw attempts and steals.
So for him to be out of the rotation days after and barely days since the end of the regular season. I mean, the regular season ended Sunday, and he's out of the rotation by Wednesdays. That is quite a stunning turnaround.
It's pretty surprising. Dallas continued with Najee Marshall in the starting lineup as the nominal point guard, if you want to call it that. He brought it up more often than others, which I guess makes him the point guard. I think a lot of that has to do with point of attack defense. And Dallas is just realizing that when Anthony Davis and Derek Lively are both starting together, that you pretty quickly run out of players that you trust against quicker guards if you don't have at least one more guy out there who isn't a defensive liability. And Spencer Dinwiddie has done an admirable job at times filling a role far larger than the team ever anticipated, like at any point anticipated that he would fill this season. But, the offense is inconsistent, can be very frustrating, and the defense is, extremely. I'll put it this way: the defense is, if Spencer Dinwiddie is on the court, and especially in a game like this, that is going to be the game plan of the opponent to attack him. So by not putting him out there, all of a sudden you remove a focal point for the defense to hunt, and it just gives, when there is that focal point, it just gives you some stability. Klay Thompson, even though he slipped defensively, he's not the defensive player he was. He's still stout and can hold up a little bit better. Certainly, for the most part, isn't really a spacey defender. Spencer Dinwiddie can be at times. So that's my best estimation of why this decision was made. And obviously, Spencer Dinwiddie got into the game very late in the closeout lineup. So this was, this was not a health-related thing. This was not a sneaky injury. As far as we understand, I sure wouldn't expect him to be out there for the final 2 minutes of the game if it was. It was a coaching decision. And I thought that was certainly very interesting. It was a 10-man rotation, even beyond Spencer's exclusion. The 10-man rotation was Caleb Martin, Daniel Gafford, Dante Exum, Brandon Williams, and Max Christie. But really, I think you started to see an 8-man rotation start to crystallize. Those the 8 players in question were Daniel Gafford, Dante Exum, and Brandon Williams. Brandon Williams was awesome. We talked about him. Dante Exum, I thought, was very, very, very good. Just a different type of guard, like tempo-setting guard. Like, he kind of plays... Sometimes he plays really fast when you don't think a fast break is on, and all of a sudden he's at the rim. Sometimes he plays quite a bit slower, and he's somebody where if there's a double team, on Anthony Davis or whoever, he's the guy willing to flash to the middle of the court and then go spray the pass out to the open shooter. He's willing to find that man advantage. And I just think that type of, for him to have such a unique speed of game to his play, maybe that's why the speed of play, everybody talks about the postseason being, not being caught up to the speed of, the playoffs. Everybody says that can be why players struggle. Well, Dante Exum definitely struggled last postseason, but he looked far more in control. Again, this was a do or die game and an elimination game. This was not a playoff opponent. This is very different than a playoff series. But I still thought it was very encouraging for Dallas that Dante Exum was able to do that. Throughout this entire time, when there was speculation or thought that maybe, Dallas would, he just wouldn't be available. Dante Exum wouldn't be available right now. My hope the entire time was that Dallas just kept Dante Exum and kept him next season, because he is still, to me, a good player when healthy, and he's had a really unfortunate season. So those are my big picture takeaways. I did say 8-man rotation, which means that it seems like Caleb Martin is at best the 9th player in the rotation, someone who could certainly fall out. And again, this is so dictated by matchups. But if he's going to be out there and shoot the ball one time, plus minus is obviously not everything, but was not on the floor when Dallas was doing well. Any thoughts on that? No?
I'm interested to see how that looks against Memphis, though, because some of the playmakers that they have between John Morant, Desmond Bain can do a little bit of playmaking creation, but there are more threats, I think, that Memphis offers that a Caleb Martin could be seen a little bit more in that game on Friday versus what we saw.
I mean, I would hope so, because
tonight.
it was the whole thing with him was length and defense.
Yeah, right.
And he fills a void defensively that this team just doesn't have. But I think you hit on it. In that run with Miami to the finals, he wasn't just a willing shooter. I mean, he was making shot after shot after shot. And so far as a Mav, now he's had an injury to work through, and is that still preying on him? But like he's just not even been a willing shooter.
And honestly, whatever you get offensively from Caleb Martin is a bonus. In my opinion, like, he is here to defend.
But I hear you. But in a postseason setting, if you won't shoot,
Yeah.
That defense gets outweighed by the way that you can guard on the other end by just ignoring him.
Yeah.
You know, like when he was such an important player, as Mark was saying, it was because he was a competent offensive player, and at times even way beyond that. But this is, you know, over the past few seasons of Caleb Martin's career, this is by far the least effective, worst version of his offense that I think we've ever seen. And I do remember when I talked to Kyle Neubeck, our friend over at PHLY, he, you know, there was some thought and belief that some of the, you know, the shoulder injury he went through affected his shot. It's always kind of been a funky shot, but you guys have seen it, you know, in the past few weeks. It's a very, very uncomfortable looking shot at this point. But that's it just stands out that Dallas gave up a notable second round pick to get a player that is their 9th or 10th man right now in a playoff rotation that does not include Kyrie Irving.
Anthony Davis, 27 points, 9 rebounds for him. Did just go 9 of 23 from the field, hit some big shots, especially in that second quarter from downtown to keep up what was the 3-point barrage for him. But for him, did a lot of things well on the defensive end as well, but some things you would want to see, not just from his observation, but going forward as well here for him.
Yeah, I got a bit better on defense as the game went along. Definitely, that's the most credit I give to the Dallas defense out of everything they did. They made Sabonis look like a fool out there, which is a trend for Sabonis. But Sabonis looks like one thing in the regular season and looks like a different person in the postseason.
My man was a negative 26 tonight. Yeah.
Because of the defenses he's going up against.
Yeah.
And Dallas, in the way they guarded Sabonis, I thought they provided, you know, a postseason level defense against him. I still have concerns whether their point of attack perimeter defense is postseason level and like how good it can be. Whether, you know, I'm very curious. I'm glad we get another game, at least one more game to kind of judge what they look like on a do or die stage, to know how much, or at least have a little bit more of an idea of how much over, you know, like roster reconstruction they may or may not have to do this summer. But against Sabonis, like they just smothered him. There was always a help defender, and you know, the one thing you can do when you're playing two bigs is that help defender isn't just PJ Washington.
That's the thing, is like his regular season stats are always jaw dropping, but in a game like this, I mean, the Mavs' length just smothered him, and
he can't guard the rim. He can't shoot threes. He can't post up. Not against real centers. He can't, you know, really.
And that's why
switch out there.
That's why there's so much angst in Sacramento right now, because they have all this money. They traded away Fox. They brought in Levine. They have all this salary tied up in DeRozan and Levine and Sabonis. Yeah. And where are you going with that trio if you just got rolled by the Mavs with the state of their roster,
right,
in a 10-9 game at your place?
Right. Bums me out a little bit. Sabonis is a really fun player.
He's a lefty. I want to love him.
I'm just
all lefty candidate, all lefty team.
Yeah, I mean, he's an all lefty mainstay. Because again, you look at it. I mean, his stats. You know,
he led the league in rebounding this year.
I think he's led the league in double doubles 3 seasons in a row. But then in a game like this,
yeah, I hate when players who are that good in the regular season can't translate it. It feels like such a personal, unique failing. But I do not trust Sabonis in a postseason setting. You just want to hit a quick
Kings,
break and
again, like I know I keep harping on it, but it's like I wish there was a Sacramento show tonight to hear what they're saying, because they have one playoff berth in 18 seasons.
Well, clearly we're getting an answer of what the what's happening in Sacramento.
Like,
yeah, I was trying to do the letters too. I couldn't do it on the fly.
SCMT.
Yeah, SCMT sounds
do it
good
on the fly.
I mean, the feeling is they might be in the process of cleaning house. Your man Vlade might be getting back involved here. Who knows?
Oh, again, this has been the case for a long time. Monte McNair is trust me, I promise you, he is not surprised.
Let's take our final break here on the DLLS Mavs post-game show. When we come back, we finish up touching up on Anthony Davis and his night, as we have an early preview looking forward to the Mavericks taking on Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies on Friday. All that more coming up next year on the DLLS Mavs postgame show.
There has never been a better time to become a diehard. Spring has sprung, and all the sports are sportsin'. We got Mavs play-in, Stars playoffs, Rangers. They're winning games again. The Cowboys are getting ready to draft someone, or maybe trade down, or maybe trade up. Who knows? Maybe trade out completely. Who knows? The Wings just got Paige Beckers. Sports are sports and hard in Dallas-Fort Worth right now. And if you want to join our community, there has never been a better offer here. It's just $36 for a year, celebrating the NFL draft next week. So it's going to be going until then. That averages out to $3 a month whenever you sign up. Not only are you supporting what we're doing, but you're also getting a whole lot of benefits as well. You're getting a free shirt right when you sign up. We got almost 40 shirts to choose from. You also get to join the DLS Diehard Discord Lounge, a great place to hang out, a great server full of wholesome people and wholesome vibes. You get to read the entire website, all the written, reported stuff from Tim Cato, Clarence Hill, Joe Hoyt, Sam Nessler, Sean Shapiro, Jeff Wilson, and more. You get a discount on any other gear you want. You get a discount on any live events. You get a physical diehard card. So many people have taken advantage of this deal already just since yesterday. Here are the people that have signed up. Shout out to Matthew, to Michael, to Chris, Michelle, Jason, Marilyn, Verlin, Shay, Sam, Keith.
Shay? Gorgeous? Alexander?
SGA did not sign up. No.
Oh, my God.
I actually know the Shay that did sign up, so shout out to Shay.
Oh.
Aaron, Farhan, Lauren, Bill, Chris, Jonathan, Christopher, Brandon, different Christopher, Brandon, Dylan, and Sean. Shout out. Yeah, Yoke signed up to become a diehard. So what are you waiting for? No, thank you to every single one of you hanging out in chat, subbing to the channel, but special thank you to all of our diehards. We're more than 1,000 strong here at DLS. Community's growing every single day. Hope you join us on this adventure. There's never been a better time, like I said, to join our community.
Shout out to the over 600 folks watching this live on the DLLS Mavs postgame show after the Mavericks get it done 120 to 106 tonight over the Sacramento Kings. They are going to play Memphis on Friday at 8:30 p.m. We'll have our regular show tomorrow at 12 p.m. right here on DLLS Sports as we look ahead to that game. Let's get to Michael Flores' super chat of the $4.99 variety. Appreciate that. Nico talked yesterday, so we wouldn't have to wait and hear from him until June. Defense wins championships.
It's so true.
Bold.
It is so true. Actually, I don't know that Nico knows this probably, but a team won the title more recently ranked outside the top 10 in defense than the top 10 in offense.
Run that back?
A team more recent. So they always say you got to be top 10 in offense and top 10 in defense. The most recent team that won a championship that was not top 10 and won was actually not top 10 in defense.
Was it one of those Cleveland teams?
Yeah, it was the 16 Cavs.
Yeah, the 16 Cavs. Yeah,
and then also the Lakers were 11th in defense one year.
Okay.
Wow.
The early 2000s Lakers?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Maybe actually the 09-10.
But all of those teams have been top 10 in offense?
Yep.
Literally, when's the last time?
The 09-10 Lakers were 11th in offense. So that is the most recent one. But the 15-16 Cavs were never mind. They were 10th. So sorry. I might be wrong on this. It doesn't matter though.
Farhan with the $10 super chat. This is one for both Marks.
Oh, the Warriors. Sorry. 17-18 Warriors 11th. That's the one I was thinking of.
Okay.
11th in defense. They won the title. Crazy. I don't know. It's almost like offense wins championships too.
Farhan with the $10 super chat. This is both for Mark Stein and Tim Cato. I'd like Mark and Tim to ask Nico the following question. 6 months ago, you said you were a Klay away. Now you're saying defense wins championships.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Were you lying then or now? Why should we believe you now?
That's a good way to frame that.
Very good question. And one of the rumbles that came out of yesterday was that there will be a season-ending news conference, right? Yes. Wasn't that the message that yesterday's press event, again, we're calling it an event. It was not a press conference.
Yes.
But that the end-of-season press conference that teams customarily hold will not be replaced by whatever yesterday was. So perhaps there will be an opportunity to ask that question.
Appreciate you on the super chat.
And perhaps that press conference will be happening later than we thought. because if the Mavs can win in Memphis on Friday night at the 8:30 tip-off that Super Kev requested.
Well, for them to do that, I do think they're going to need...
Great point, Tanner.
I think for them to do that...
I won't be.
I had such a great transition.
It's okay.
But I think for them to do that, Anthony Davis is going to be better, need to be better than he was tonight. I don't think he was good in the first half.
It's going to be a faster game. But, look, John Morant is not... He's going to play. I don't think there's any question we will see John Morant give it a go.
For sure.
But don't think he's going to be 100%. I mean, you guys saw the ankle twist against the Warriors. I mean, it wasn't pretty.
Looked painful.
He gutted through it. And
my man was taking painkillers
like
on the
it's
sideline.
amazing when you
in
think,
public.
Like,
yeah, like
well, I mean, and that's the thing. You know, the Grizzlies, yet another team we could insert into this conversation of, like, again, I'm just struck by in today's NBA, like there just are so many teams that are feeling this urgency and pressure. Like in Chicago, Chicago actually ended the season pretty well, and people were so excited about Josh Giddey and Kobe White showing signs of life as a backcourt, and Buzelis just ripping the rim off with all these dunks, and then they lose in the play-in for the third straight year, and now all I guarantee you on CHGO tonight, our colleagues were just livid with the state of things. You know, yet another play-in exit, and they don't have a true star. And where they're, I mean, I think the stat is in 27 years, the Bulls have been in the conference finals once. Like, these ain't your fathers or your grandfather's Chicago
St.
Bulls.
Michael's Bulls no more.
Like,
That's for
it's
damn
just,
sure.
I mean, so it's just like there are so many places you look that are just feeling this pressure and, you know, don't have obvious. It's just not easy to rebound and retool. And so, I mean, this offseason, I mean, people have been saying it to me, like this was already the craziest deadline in memory, and cap space is at a premium, top free agents are at a premium. So it's not going to be through free agent moves, but there's going to be a lot of action between now and mid-July, and not just in terms of player movement, but you see like the Kings ousting their GM within an hour of their last game of the season. And, you know, James Jones in Phoenix, his contract expires in June. There's a lot of people who think that, that Phoenix will be looking at a new GM as well as a new coach. It's just like, there are so many cities and teams you look at that, man, stuff is going on. And there are many, many teams at a crossroads right now.
I need to issue a correction. I was wrong on my last stat. It wasn't even the 17-18 Warriors. It was even more recent. The 22-23 Nuggets ranked 15th in defense, yet somehow, they won the championship. I don't know how.
Jokic.
It must have been a glitch in the system. It must have been an accident. But a league average defense did win a championship.
They finished 15th in defensive rating.
Yep. They won the title 2 years ago. Granted, they did not play any good teams in the playoffs. I mean, they didn't beat a single 50-win team. The Mavs beat 3 50-win teams last year. They ranked 18th in defensive rating.
That's incredible. I mean, but you can do that
in the second half of the season.
Not in the second half. No,
even
they were number 1.
Even with that 77 guy, they somehow managed to play some defense.
Yeah, they were the number 1 defense for like 2 months.
Nikola Jokic is so damn good. Anthony Davis was good enough tonight for the Mavericks. Gonna have to be that much better on Friday.
Yeah, you can talk about Ja Morant giving it a go, but probably being hobbled. I still am not sure Anthony Davis looks like the top 75 player, like the truly dominant two-way force that the Mavericks keep saying, but they're right. He is that player when fully right and healthy. And he was really not that good in the first half. All of Dallas' success in the second quarter, nearly all of it, all the offensive success came when they were running the offense not through him, and he capped it off with a couple big threes, and kudos to him. But he finished the game 2 of 10 in the paint. If I'm counting right, 2 of 6 on mid-range jumpers, or 2 of 7, depending on how you count it. There was 2 moments early in the game where he just didn't get back in transition defense. There was a blow by from DeMar DeRozan, not the quickest guy. There's a very bizarre goaltending call. Those are all on the defensive end, and the
weirdest
offense,
4-point play I've ever seen.
very weird 4-point play. And the offense was still a lot of mid-range jumpers and somebody who didn't look like he could fully dominate.
He's taking a lot of Nowitzki shots. And
Yeah.
he does not have Nowitzki's mid-range game.
And so I thought he
No one
absolutely,
does.
No
I
one.
absolutely
That's
thought-
true too.
absolutely
No
thought
one
he was better
does.
in the second half. And the defense came around as well. But this is a player who, clearly fought to come back. And we'll still see, how much he is or isn't or is 100% right. But he's out there. And I'm not so sure that, we saw what happened against the Lakers. We saw what happened against the Clippers. We saw moments where Dallas had to, pull their, the center playing next to him and put AD at center, because that was the only way to really get space on the court for him to be able to operate. And you don't have to do that against Sacramento, because just like Dallas beat up on Chicago, and I think they beat an Orlando team that was down some players. They can beat teams like that. They can beat play-in teams. They beat Orlando. They beat Chicago. They beat literal play-in teams. They've done that since getting healthier, since getting mostly healthy down the stretch of the season. We know they can do that. Memphis is going to be a little bit tougher, but hey, you know what's funny about Memphis? They're a play-in team too. That's why they're playing them in the play-in on Friday. And it is going to be a little bit tougher though. Memphis obviously has more talent. We'll see what Ja Morant looks like, how much he's
I mean the Mavs don't have a winning record, so maybe this stat is somewhat not applicable, but if you add in the Golden State game, the Grizzlies are 1-15 in their last 16 games against winning teams. So they are far short.
They're not
of
world beaters these days.
World beater status. They have an interim coach. They went through a coach dismissal with 9 games to go in the season, which at the time was the latest we had seen a team with a winning record fire its coach until the Michael Malone, Calvin Booth exacta. So, this is an opportunity for the Mavericks. Now, I would rather have that lottery pick, and just even if it is a 1% chance, but it's like you can't tell the players and coaches to think that way. And they're going to try to win this game and see if they can get in a playoff series. And I mean, we've talked about it. They have been ready to play, and they have played to this roster's maximum many, many, many times this season.
Let's finish up with a couple super chats before we get out of here. Martin the Polar Bear with the $5 super chat. Something to ask Nico: does he trade Luka if his contract renewal as GM came after the summer instead of last year? Did he want to secure his next
Never
contract?
do that as a lame duck. Ever.
G Mercado with the
Thank you for the super chat too.
is that 249? No, it's okay.
Maybe I can never host because I can't read the screen.
Before Nico, you're gonna get your chance soon. Before Nico says defense wins championships, he must recognize that defense wins games. Offense
wins games.
Wins games. Can't battle for a chip if you don't win. It is. If you don't win enough games.
Got to win games to make it to the championship games.
They'll have a chance to get that much closer to the championship games on Friday when they take on the Memphis Grizzlies at
play pickup in Brooklyn
at 8:30 p.m. In Memphis, in what should be a hell of a game between two teams battling for a chance to take on Oklahoma City on Sunday. That'll do it for us here on the DLLS Mavs post-game show. I personally want to say thank you to all of you. I will be out for the next several days. I'll be headed to Las Vegas here in about 7 hours. These three gentlemen will take care of you over the next several days. I'll be back next week when the Mavericks take on Oklahoma City in Game 1 of the NBA playoffs. Ain't that right?
Hell yeah.
All right, cool. Appreciate you, Tanner, making us look good and sound good as always. Thank you, sir, from the pregame show to the watch along to everything. We appreciate you. And everything that you do,
Memphis.
sir. That is our national NBA insider, Mark Stein. That is our Mavericks analyst, Bobby Krella. He is our intrepid beat writer for the Mavericks, Tim Cato. I'm your host, Kevin Gray. We are DLLS Mavs. Mavericks get it done 120-106 over the Sacramento Kings, and they're headed to Memphis on Friday. We'll have a regular show tomorrow at 12 p.m. right here on DLLS Sports. Y'all be good. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.